Okay, so let's look at how we add a new client in the Professional Plus edition. The blue button at the top left hand corner that says New Client, we click that and that'll open a brand new blank client record ready for us. It opens it with the Client Details tab selected here, and it opens on the Address tab within that Client Details section. So it prompts us here by top left hand corner the inquiry source. That what we want to capture is where every client heard about us and where they got his number from. So the two first boxes in here, where did you first hear about us? And the example I'm going to use in this one is referral. So if they've heard about us from a friend, that's great, but what we also want to do is ask a second question. Where did you get our telephone number today? So it may be that they've had a leaflet, that their friends passed it on to them, or they've actually gone to the phone book to find us. So in this example, I'm going to put in here that they've gone to the BT phone book. So the reason we ask that second question is to make sure that we know what advertising sources are picking up the repeat and referral clients. So obviously, if the client had heard about us in the phone book, where did you first hear about us would be phone book, and also you would add into here, where did you get our number today, you would also put that as phone book. So what I'm going to do now is add the client's details in. I'm going to put myself on the system here. So we've got Mr. Alan Simmons. There's no business name, but I live at the Den, and that's 25 Pennine Road. Correct that, that's Pennine Road, and the district is Thorn, Doncaster, S Yorks, the postcode is DN85RU. Okay, now the thing about the address in here is it's in what's called the postcode address file format. So if you complete it in this format, if you're using companies such as DocMail or Mailboxes, etc., or CleanMail, the address that comes out of here is going to match what they need to give you the best discount that they possibly can. The other thing that's worth noting is if there is no house number, the house number goes in with the street section here, so 25 Pennine Road. Now there's a couple of options here. We've got one button here that says add directions. So let's say I've not got a house number and it's just the name, so it's the Den, and I'm a little bit tricky to find. If I click this button that says add directions, you'll see it's just jumped us along to the directions tab here. I can click into here and I can put some directions for next to the post box, and you'll see where they appear on the client's record. So if I go back to the address tab now, the other option that's here as well is if you want to have a quick look on Google Maps, which is the default setting that we've put in, there's a button here that says View Address on Map. If you click that, that will open Google Maps and it will actually put the pin on, and you'll be able to go down to street level if the mapping's been done and actually have a look at the property or the street and things like that. So if you're looking for access for truck mount, that's a useful tool that's there. The other thing we capture at this point would be any telephone numbers that we've got, so we'd do that here. So if I put on here, we can capture a home and a work number. So we can pop those in there. If we've got a mobile as well, we can pop that in there. And obviously an email address as well. We can pop an email address in there as well. So I'm going to put those and capture that information there. Now there is also a little button at the side here, and you'll see as I hover over it, it says email requested. That was put in the request of a user actually. If you ask the client if we can take an email from them and they say they don't have one, you can put a little tick in the box in there, and when you come into the client's record next time, if you see that there's no email address here, it'll save you asking the client if you can take an email address, because there's just a quick visual guide there that you've asked them in the past if they've got an email address. The system's already completed the pricing area as local in here. It will have put your trading name in, and it will have defaulted to the client type that's set up in the table. So in this instance it's defaulted to domestic. Obviously you can change that if you have a look at the settings in that table. The other thing that's here in as well is the public comment field. So that's things that you don't mind the client knowing that you know about them. So it could be that they've got a dog called Jack. It's a Jack Russell, so that sort of information. And then we've also put in a private comment field. So this is the stuff that you don't particularly want the client to know that you're making notes about them. So in this instance it could be that it's always haggles on price. So when you go into this client's record, you can see here they've got a dog called Jack and they always haggle on price. So it just makes it that much more personal when you're speaking to the client again. The other thing that it's worth doing as you're entering new clients, if you can, is there's a section here, a tab that's called groups. If we click that, that's marketing groups. So if you can find out that they've got a baby, that it's a bungalow that you go into, or they've got children, it's a first floor flat, second floor flat, these are being set up by default in the professional edition. So if you find out that they've got pets, you can put a tick in the box here and select that, and they now belong to a marketing group called pets. So in some of the other editions, that allows you to start to filter your data and do mailings specifically to people who've got pets or any other criteria that you've marked off in this group section here. And also as well, you'll notice at the top there we've got a birthday. So if you know what month, the day and month, or even just the month of their birthday, you can pop that in here. In this edition, when you're in the client's record, if you click into here, you can see if it's their birthday coming up or anything, and perhaps just refer to that if you're that type of person. Okay, so if we go back to the address tab, that's everything completed on this section here. Now what you would obviously do is you're going to be either putting a quote on or booking a quote appointment. The other thing that we can do is we can click this main tab here, and that just gives us a few more options to add into the client's record. And this is actually the screen that the next time you open the record it will appear on. So what you will have noticed is, as you've moved from that address tab, it's now completed the client's details at the top of the record here. So what you'll notice is, as you move along any of these other tabs, so you can move around in the client's record, but you'll always see this information about the client clearly at the top of the tab record here. So if I just come back to this main tab now, and we run through some of the other information that you can put onto the client's record in the professional edition, you'll notice it's carried through the pricing area, the trading name and the client type. What we've also set up in here is another custom field, and you can use that as a second type of category of client. We've got many users using this in different ways, and if you look at the pick list updates, there's a few ideas in there. But one of the ways some users use this is they'll use it as a separate second category for their domestic clients, so they may star rate them, so they have 1, 2 or 3 star clients. And others use this as a second category for commercial clients, so they'll put in here that they're a commercial client, and they'll set this custom list up as things like hotel, offices, factory, shop, those sort of things. So if you have a look at the setup video and see how that can be used. The other field in here that you can set up is the truck mount, and that comes down with some default settings. So if you know there's no access to this property, you can pop that in there. If you know that it's not suitable because you've done on-site inspection and you couldn't use it, if it's actually that you've got to use it, or you're going to need it on here, you can put that it's required. Or if you've used the truck mount on it and you don't always use the truck mount, you can make a note in there that you've used the truck mount at this premises, and then the next time you're in the client record you can see that this is one that you use the truck mount on. What you can also pop in here is a reference, so if you've got a pre-existing referencing system that you use or reference number in, free text in here, and you can put a reference to suit yourself, and again that can be searched for from the top search bars. And the other thing that you can do is we can actually archive clients as well, so you can choose from this list. If you're archiving a client's record because they've died, because they've moved on, or you're just getting no response from them and you don't want to include them in mailings and things, you can archive clients here. Worth also pointing out is that we have a section here called Do Not, and this is the option to exclude people from marketing activities and things like that. Either you don't want to write to them because you just don't want to go back, or they've specifically requested or unsubscribed or opted out of mail shots or emails. Now, we've put several boxes in here because if they don't want emails, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want letters from you, and vice versa. So we've put the options in here. We've got do not mail shot, so that's if you don't want the system to generate letters. No sales calls. Do not email. We can pop a tick in there if they've decided that they don't want emails from you. And the no daily marketing, that's something that you can tick if you don't want them to get automatic job reminders from the daily marketing, and there's a separate video about that. So let's just tick in here as an example. They've said they don't want to receive telesales calls. You can put a tick in the box here, and then I can pop in here telesales request, and then I'd usually put something like the initials and the date, so it would be the 14th of the 1st 13, and then you can just see a note as to why the no sales calls box is ticked there. So that's it. You've got a new client entered on and captured as much information as possible.